Friday, the 7th of April. Gents, what's these markets doing? I'm completely confused. I'm up on some bags. I'm being completely destroyed on some others. We'll get into it in a bit, but how's the past week been?
Chop city. I'm getting slightly chopped up left, right, and center, which is rather frustrating. I feel like we have gone into God mode, expert mode, and because I'm just a noob with a laptop, who should be spending more time playing video games and pooning noobs, I'm getting absolutely blasted. You can draw all of the lines you want, but mate, the markets do not like my lines. Maybe my lines are just shit.
Your lines aren't lines. Clearly, that's what's going on here.
Oh no, my lines, dude. My lines, like if you see me in Discord, I do like the Nike swoosh because the Nike swoosh 3 out of 4 times hasn't failed. It was on the 4th time that it got chopped up hard.
Right now, I think we have like truly a 50-50 split in bulls versus bears. It really is, and the chop is reflecting that. It's quite remarkable. A lot of top signals are in. Sailor bought again. Domino's with their Dogecoin pizza logo. Twitter changing its logo. There's a lot of top signals in, boys. But then, then ETH does like a major move, and then you kind of like scratching your head again. I mean, obviously we had major resistance across the board. Listen, if we break this resistance, I'm going to be balls deep long. But up until then, I think we're more to the downside from my perspective. But I'm one of the bears, so let's see.
I'm probably like probably like the happiest bear you'll ever see. Like I am super bearish and everything right now, but I'm still smiling.
So there's we're gonna get through a load of shit today. There's it's gonna be quite a. Let me just get off that screen a sec. It's gonna be quite a detailed one. So
did you see his calendar? I saw his calendar. Did you see it? Oh my god! Did you see his calendar?
It was empty.
So we've got
absolutely empty.
Empty.
Yeah, was it? Fuck. We're gonna get into some Arbitrum stuff because obviously that's been a complete shit show, and we're just gonna kind of try and post-mortem that. Some of the Cobie CZ stuff. Just how can one man have so much power and stuff. As Jerry just mentioned, the Doge Twitter kind of fiasco, which is kind of hilarious. It still gives me a shock every time I look at it. There's been a few good launches that are coming up. One just happened overnight, the SpartaDex, and there's a few more other interesting stuff which we'll get into, like the GMX Chainlink proposal, the OPNX exchange, which is Kyle and Sue's exchange, and the drastically terrible opening day, and then a few other bits and pieces and a few other charts that we like the look of, and some kind of basket narratives that we'll get into. But first, what if you can see it on the screen? I'm sitting down painstakingly and creating a free course for anyone who wants to take themselves through it. It'll probably be a 6 or 7 parter video course, so you don't have to like read shit. Because I know all you apes are just completely your attention span's absolutely destroyed. So I couldn't think of a title, so I just put everything I know about DeFi, but I probably forgot some stuff. So it's for free. All we want from you to get it is to subscribe to the newsletter and refer one friend, one family member. Just get another referral, and as soon as you've got a referral on it, like using Beehive, we can see that you've referred someone, and then we'll just send you the course immediately. As I say, you'll get the first 2 as of basically immediately, and then we'll slowly roll out the remaining episodes of the course. It's just so you know, like high level, it's going to be brief history of DeFi, getting on chain, basic security housekeeping, buying and selling, the basics and advanced, how to bridge, provide liquidity, earn yield, money markets, LSDs, protocols to use and when to use them, block explorer tips, wallet tracker tips, tools to use. And then a little bit further down the course, it's perps, decks, options, finding edge and alpha, tricks I've learned over the years, best practices, and then end. It will be very lateral. So when I'm covering a topic, it probably will go left and right because I'm a complete idiot and can't just go from point A to B. But Hopefully, it's as good as every course out there on the market that are trying to charge you 10 grand for it. So it's all for free. You help us out, we'll help you out. So with that in mind, Dan, what's happening in the newsletter?
Now, this was like my creativity went through the roof for this last newsletter because this was all about the ABCDEs of crypto narratives to watch in April. So if we scroll down a little bit, always a shout out to whoever these apes are. So if you scroll down a little bit, shout out to the person who left this message. Great work as always, lads. My coffee in Australia is never complete on a Wednesday morning without it now. But I know who this Chad is. Absolute legend. Gonna come to Aussie and we're gonna go Aussie. Oi. I'm very looking forward to it.
So what did we cover?
So we covered
you were over the moon with this, like you were patting yourself on the back with this ABCDE, weren't you?
How clever and how funny is that? Because as we scroll down, A is for Arbitrum. We were looking at some Arbitrum narratives because, you know, despite governance being an absolute shit show, which everybody's forgotten about because they airdropped $1 billion to everybody, you know, things are obviously like tanking in the ecosystem. There's going to be some great plays in there. B is obviously for Bitcoin. And at the time of posting, there was 74 days until you become a Bitcoin millionaire, which is apparently true. C is for concentrated liquidity and China, because Hong Kong is having a big event coming up, Web3 Festival. So will China coins get a kick? I don't know. Maybe. Hope so. D. For Doge Day. Has to be. On 420.
We have to talk about this. This is significant. This is significant.
It's on the list.
It's on the list. E is for the Ethereum upgrade that everybody has been shoving down your throat, and the whole narrative of Ethereum Shanghai and LSD is, I don't know, it's getting a bit tiresome, but, you know, things are still moving there, things are still pumping. And I know with these other ideas to watch, I should have, like, I realized this after I posted it, you can position those, you know, letters so then it spells something as well. But there's some other things to watch for. Optimism's Bedrock, you know, Athena's got their fusion upgrade. Plutus DAO tokenomics, I'm super excited to see that. Aurora's going to be coming to Arbitrum, and then Synthetics, they're distributing OP rewards on Quenta.
Nice. We're going to get you a slot on Countdown now after that kind of. So, first order of the day, AIP-1. Which is the first governance proposal on Arbitrum, and what a fucking shit show that was, eh?
How do you go from being the absolute kings to the absolute peasants in one governance proposal? How do you do that? Well, you do it by not actually running a governance proposal process.
Fucking idiot. We speaking to Nick.
Everybody's forgotten about it.
That's it. We don't have to say anything else. Fucking idiots. There we go. Moving on.
What are you saying, Dan?
Like, everybody's forgotten about it now. Like, on to the next story. Like, these things are suddenly, like, huge for, like, I don't know, 20 minutes.
6 hours.
And then literally like massive 20 minutes. You get all these like threaders like whoa, making a thread, Arbitrum bad, whoa, governance bad, whoa. And then like the next day it's like, oh, Cobie's bad, oh, girl, oh, Cobie, oh, I hate Cobie, oh. And the next day it's like something else, just like, oh, CZ FUD, CZ. It's like, mate, just fuck off with your engagement farming, please.
Yeah, we were speaking to Nick from Revelo Intel this week. If anyone doesn't know what that is, we'll leave a link below. It's effectively they take all the podcasts and all the spaces and all the Discord stages. They have a team that sits and takes notes on them and just annotates them, so you can digest hundreds of podcasts in like a couple of hours if you needed to. So you really get a lot of time back doing that. But that's by the by. What Nick was saying, if anyone else on the planet had effectively airdropped $1 billion to a small amount of people, they could literally do anything they ever wanted. But after a week, when they fucked up a governance proposal for like, how much did they spend in the end? Like 10 million ARB, so roughly like 10 million. it's like the full world's against them. So like 1% of what they'd actually airdrop free, like as in free cash to everyone. But I don't know. They just handled it completely wrong, in my opinion. It felt like someone who didn't work in crypto was handling the governance forum and just thought they could get away with shit. And it's one thing, like, if you're trying to do it as a small project, which obviously is bad as well, but when you actually run your own network and blockchain, the whole point of a blockchain is the fact that it's transparent and everyone can see shit. It's like they kind of forgot the main reason of what they're actually building. Do you know what I mean? It was really strange, and I don't know if it's in this one or there's a. All right, this how fucking funny is this tweet, by the way? Number 6 on the first tweet. Regarding the on-chain transfer of 50 million ARB tokens, 40 million ARB tokens have been allocated as a loan to a sophisticated actor in the financial market space.
What?
A market maker.
Yeah.
So if anyone asks what I do now, I'm just going to say I'm a sophisticated actor in the financial market space.
Are we going to get like proper business cards printed as well with that on it? I mean, like
sophisticated actors in the financial market space. The remaining 10 million has been converted to fiat and dedicated towards operational costs. So they didn't sell; they just converted it to fiat. Oh fucking hell!
So how does I mean this like? How did, like Dan says, it's a 20-minute thing. I mean, it's really not going to make any difference, is it? I mean, no one really cares.
Just check the on StreamYard. Just check the private chat. These guys. So this is who won out of all of this. Have a look at that tweet. This is who won, and I think it was hilarious when they posted this.
All right, yeah, this is hilarious.
1 inch.
I do follow you, by the way, Dan. I don't know why it does this all the time. I do follow you.
Oh, fuck. Heartbreaking. But this was so funny from like the 1 inch team. Allocate 900 grand in ARB to purchase a Lamborghini for marketing purposes. I think that's a genius idea.
Do you think they were trolling them?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's still up there now. It's still active. It's active until lunchtime today.
They obviously did it to troll them, and no, everyone's saying no. Thank goodness for that. But they obviously knew that. But they did that on purpose. Surely, I mean, this is a fantastic marketing campaign. Basically, like we know this won't get, but we'll put it up anyways for shit. Imagine if everyone passed it; that would have been fucking even more hysterical.
Do you not realize like how close it was? Like in the first like I don't know, like 24 hours, like Yes was actually winning. Like it was just like 49-51, 50-50, like the whole time. It was so funny to watch. And like if they actually did that, could you imagine like the 1 inch team like doing some little like test drive, like not wheelies, but like donuts in it and everything, and like they painted like Arbitrum on the side or something. Hilarious, man.
People might actually use it if that was the case.
Oh man, that's insane.
So they release this ratification document or whatever the fuck that means. They're just plucking words out of their arse at the minute. But they're obviously gonna move to kind of fix their shit because they faced so much backlash. So it was just a complete PR nightmare. So, but like when it was happening, it was like, well, if they've already sold. If they've already converted to fiat, they didn't sell, remember. Was it a good buying opportunity? And I thought it was. Like anything sub 120, I thought it was a good buying opportunity. And so it's moved up. Not a lot, but it's it'll still do well over the long term. But anywho.
And anyway, have you ever used the word ratification in real life before?
I don't think anyone has. So I'm trying to find this tweet. Can someone fill me in what happened with Cobie and CZ?
But basically, like Cobie, I think there was like a code, and like dug in the code was like a connection to Interpol, and apparently like deep in this code, the connection was that basically like Interpol wants CZ, and then there was all of a sudden like a doctored Photoshop picture of CZ like on Interpol's website that went round, and obviously like all the Twitter threaders out there were retweeting and rah. So then the FUD like really did happen. But what was super interesting is about 2 or 3 hours before, like CZ knew this was happening because he tweeted the number 4. And like if you've been following CZ, like basically the number 4 is tagged in his on his profile as his pinned message, and it's like basically ignore FUD. So he knew it was coming, or he knew something was coming, and he also changed his picture to the Hulk as well. There you go. Ignore FUD, fake news, and attacks. And he posted that right before Cobie posted the old little like wallet address thing.
So if it's not true, who's starting that little rumor? Like who could benefit from that? Because that's what you got to think about it as. I don't know anyone who'd want that smoke, to be fair, after what happened to FTX.
Got no idea. It was a bizarre situation.
Yeah, and you can't even decrypt the SHA encrypted message, can you? It'd have to wait for Cobie to do it. So it was, as you say, people picked it up and ran with it. What's interesting is the block published it, and a few other outlets published the fact that that was the case. And then, what happens, right? There's a great book called "Trust Me, I'm Lying" by Ryan Holiday, who used to do all these guerrilla marketing campaigns for like movies and all sorts of businesses. He was the CMO of American Apparel at the time of when they were getting kind of like Westboro Baptist Church stand below their fucking billboards and shit like that, because they were purposely being instigated. Do you know what I mean? But it worked. So in the book, it's like if you notice, blogs and news articles will release information to be first, even without due diligence, and that will get clicks, which obviously translates into ad revenue. But even if they're proved wrong, they will not remove the article. They'll just put a disclaimer at the bottom or an editor's note at the bottom saying there has since been like more information that came out and this might be like false. But if they're getting like a couple of 100,000 or a couple of million people clicking on that link, that's all they care about. So it's more of a race to be first as opposed to be a race to be right, which is why we need to kind of start looking into kind of getting a actual credible news platform coming out on the news site and stuff like that, because it's a complete shit show. Just makes the industry a fucking joke, really, doesn't it?
It's mad because like whenever FUD comes out, it's over every single major news outlet within like 6 minutes. So these news outlets obviously know something's going to happen and like something's coming. So like, could this, if you want to go like conspiracy theory, like is it some like, Mystic Meg up in the sky who like controls all of like the money flow and like all of the media, and like is it then like insider trading as well?
Well, Decrypt are owned by Consensus. CoinDesk are owned by Barry's company. The block were getting paid by FTX. CoinMarketCap is owned by Binance.
Good luck with that one, ladies and gentlemen.
So yeah, if anyone wants to pay us $50 million a year to to be their spokesperson, then go for it. But no, that's just how shit works. It's a reason Elon's bought Twitter. It's a reason Bezos owns the Washington Post. It's why fucking Bill Gates is trying to own OpenAI. Like you can control the news, control the narrative. That's how the industry works. That's how every industry works. So it's a bit of shit, but it is what it is. So maybe we can cover some
just on a personal level. I think Cobie actually really took strain over this. I mean, he made a couple of posts where he was like, I need to actually stop posting on this account. It's just, it's too much. I think I think he feels like he put his foot in it, and in many ways, I think someone actually wrote something where like they said that it's not Cobie's fault. There's other stuff that's at work here, but Cobie's influence is huge, and it can't be underestimated. And I think there's that cliche, right? It's like with great power comes great responsibility, and I think Cobie knows this, but I think the full realization of it dawned on him this week. And I think, listen, I think Cobie's a good guy. I think we all would agree on that. But I think this one really like revealed to him like when things go wrong, they go horribly wrong. And he participated in the wreckage of many people, indirect or direct, regardless of what you think.
Should we talk about Doge?
Yeah.
This is one of my concerns around Doge is, top signals. Like this is one of them, man. If there's ever a top signal, this is it. It's got to be said.
There it is. It still like throws me for like every single time it loads. I'm like, what the fuck's that? But I don't know. Like, what's the chart saying? Let's have a look.
Down.
It's down.
Down.
We're in for a bit of pain, I think.
Don't say that.
I'm sorry to say it.
My bags are good technology, so they'll go
up. Fundamentals will finally pay off.
for once, for the first time ever. What was that, like a 37% move? I'm pretty sure. I know there's a lot of people trading that. Ryan did well off it. Connor and Clark. But yeah.
Yeah, I think a couple of people did well. Like I kind of called the top on that thing. I saw it go and I was like, oh, late longers are going to get wrecked here. It was like just at the 10-cent mark. And then it showed a little bit more movement. And if you check the open interest, a lot more people piled in. They thought, okay, this is going to be a 150% move. There's no ways it's not, because that's what it does, right? But it's not what it does when you don't have participation. Like you really do need that retail participation. We don't have it at the moment. And I think the proof in the lack of retail participation is our next topic of conversation, which we'll obviously get to down the line, is obviously this whole exchange thing that these clowns have released. I mean, how much was it? Like $12 worth of volume that went through that thing, which just proves that the echo chamber is real. People are only reading crypto Twitter. Why? Because it's just us that are left at the moment. So,
the thing is, you're just waiting for the next thing, and as soon as the image goes, it's like it falls off a cliff. But the only thing, that's the kind of thing that cuts through, gets past like the fourth wall or whatever it's called, like, and starts to pique retail's interest to come back into the market again. So I wouldn't be surprised if you start seeing XRP and fucking ADA and stuff like that start to move, and that's kind of an indication of new idiot money coming back in. So something to keep an eye on. But I don't know how they're going to onboard, because no one's fucking onboarding anymore. So just the same money sloshing around. Right. Next on the agenda is, so me and Dan have been following this from afar.
I'd love to hear what you got. I know nothing about this, so I'm all ears. You have my attention, gentlemen.
So
this is going to be cool.
So hashflow as a product is trade any asset from any source chain to any destination chain, and it doesn't use an automated market maker. It uses a RFQ, so a request for quotes, so similar to how like 0x and things like that work. So it's effectively you saying, I want this asset on that chain, and then you'll pay like effectively an off-chain market maker or an on-chain market maker to actually go and allow that to happen. So the product's good. The product's great. But that's not what's interesting at the minute. So this Hashverse thing, as Dan said, super cool. Dan, I don't know if you want to kind of fill us in what you've seen, because you're the kind of gaming nut here. I don't know if there's anything you want me to bring up while I'm talking through it.
Basically, like the TLDR of it is they're about to like gamify like everything. So you can now they've got their minting of like their first Genesis boxes later today. Yesterday, because we're recording this on Friday. So this would obviously have all gone completely live, and maybe would have sold out. But yeah, they're going to be gamifying their whole project. You'll be able to like do quests, stake tokens, and we were having this like really good conversation before that. I think one of the next big narratives you'll need to watch out for is the gamification of products. Not gamify, because that's slightly different, but the gamification, which is something that these guys are doing.
So if anyone's listening on Spotify, it's these NFTs, and it says the Enter the Hashverse Season 1 Battle Pack represents in-game NFT artifacts that will be made available within the Hashverse. These limited edition items will allow players to increase their XP and their HFT, which is the hashflow token rewards, by attacking, defending, and leveling up in their in-game character. So I think the overarching idea is to encourage governance participation, as Dan saying, gamification of all things on chain, and then obviously create this fucking super sick world that looks actually insane, to be fair. So if you listen to this on Friday, there might be some still available, and that one of the key things is that we figured out it looks like it's going to be one of the first ETH, well, maybe the first ETH mint on Magic Eden, which is interesting in and of itself. So there's a one per wallet whitelist free mint, one per wallet whitelist free mint, and then allegiances. I imagine these allegiances are something to do with like in-game clans and shit like that. And there's a little bit more about partnerships and so see, they're using Galaxy. So that's Galaxy is really, really cool. And as Dan was saying, it helps gamify kind of active community participation with regards to reading articles and turning up the Discord. It's similar to like your POAPs and all that kind of jazz as well. So it seems like it's moved in the right direction. It's really, really cool to see. As I say, it fell off the radar for quite a while just with the actual product, but I think this is going to kick them back into some kind of strong narrative around this whole thing. But I'm probably gonna pick some up. Anything else?
What's super clever with this whole the way they're gamifying it is, if you've ever played like games where you've got to like level things up to like earn points and rewards, this is essentially it, but with like real life money, but like with like your bitcoins or whatever. Because let's say you've got to like, I don't know, level up a mine, and by leveling up a mine, you earn yield slightly quicker. Or if you've got a barracks that you have to level up in order to defend it, which might mean that, if somebody was like liquidity pooling with you, they would have to, I don't know, stay in there for like a set amount of time. You're now building your own ecosystem, your own like, area that is yours, and the higher you level it up, and this is similar to what SpartaDex are doing as well, the more you can level it up, the more rewards you're going to get. So the more rewards I get, the more yield I get from, say staking or pooling. It keeps people in that ecosystem.
Dan, do you want to talk people through what's going on with SpartaDex while I just go and shut my dog up?
Yeah. If you just take your screen down, I'm going to bring my screen up.
All right, 2 secs.
So we've been speaking to like the SpartaDex team, and they so I managed to get my wallet whitelisted for testnet, and this is like the testnet version. So you've got the actual game here, and it's super good. You can't hear it right now, but I've got like Age of Empires style music here. And each of these different like zones, like market, academy, Senate, you level up, and the more you level them up, the more points and rewards you get. You also be able to like battle as well. There's you've got a barrack here. So I could in theory just go and upgrade my barrack. There you go. Now it's building. If you ever played like Age of Empires as a kid, like this is exactly how it works. You've obviously got like a little timer there to show you how long it's going to take. It runs through all the different bits on here of what you can build, and then this all goes into to all have some kind of like impact in the deck side of it. You have to like swap tokens, pull stuff together as well, and then when things level up, I believe my understanding would be that you'll be able to upgrade your yield boost as well. So then you'll be earning, more gold shiny coins on these shiny coins by leveling up. I've been playing like things like Clash of Clans for ages, or like Idle Heroes, and you get sucked in and you stay there. It is a really, really clever concept, but it's gamification like this that I think is going to be a really big winner, especially so many of us like played video games as kids.
Sweet. So if we don't get a newsletter for a couple of weeks, you're going to be like the highest ranking member on SpartaDex. Is that right?
Oh, basically.
He's already playing it. You can see he's like fucking already loaded that account. It's insane.
If my audio went really bad, then that's because like you had the music from the game playing. Like that's the only thing you can't turn it off. So I don't know what happened there.
Yeah,
the audio was pretty shit.
Yeah, it's all right. Henry, you can fix that in Adobe after by running it through that AI thing that we found the other day. So the whitelist was too late for me last night, but let's have a look. 0.06 for whitelist and 0.07 for public. But they're on OpenSea on Arbitrum at the minute, and let's have a look. I got some this morning. So if I can miss the whitelist like an idiot.
Dude, these went out so quick.
Let me delete some of these tabs.
This is what happens with Indonesian internet.
Right, so they're only up like 30%. So I haven't missed it. I bought like a handful of these this morning. Is there any indication of what these are yet? Or is it going to be like a reveal, or what the fuck is going on?
Yes. So basically like they're going to be split into like 3 different tiers. There's X amount are going to be just like basic. I think it's X amount are going to be basic characters. Some are going to be a little bit stronger, and then there's literally like a teeny weeny portion that are going to be like god tier characters, which then will obviously impact your, the way you interact with the game. It's going to be super cool, man.
So I haven't completely missed the boat buying a little bit higher. All right. I wonder if this has the same kind of run up as DeFi Kingdoms and shit like that. If it's on Arbitrum, I hope it's not tied to the same team.
It's definitely got a DeFi Kingdoms vibe to it. Like when I was looking at it now, the immediate thing was in my mind was this is like DeFi Kingdoms. And we know it works. We know there's a lot of incentive around that kind of game. So there's no reason why it won't be successful.
I have to send it to Ansem, see what he says.
Yeah, I'll actually. I was thinking about that as well. I was thinking of actually sending it to him and getting his commentary around it.
Right. So give me a minute. 2 seconds.
Are we going straight back into the serious stuff? It's amazing how like Grant does this. Like, okay, let's take it like to the lighter side, and now we're looking at another governance proposal that will be taken seriously. I can assure you, if it's coming from CoinFlip. We met him at East Dubai. Really nice guy, like super cool, super connected, and just knows what's going on in the space. I mean, there's no surprise as to why GMX is as successful as it is. You've got someone at the helm that just knows what's going on. I haven't actually seen this proposal.
Yeah,
so decentralization of GMX to a greater degree. This is really interesting.
So basically, with the V2, that's like the biggest criticism has been there's been quite a bit of Oracle manipulation and sometimes even some kind of people manipulating the price of AVAX to its benefit on GMX. So if they were like longing it or shorting it on a different exchange or buying it and selling it on a different exchange on spot, and then that price was feeding into the GMX price oracle, and then they were effectively being able to kind of sway where the price was going to go, so they could bet on that directionally, and you could see it painted in the AVAX chart probably about 3 or 4 months ago. So what they need is new low latency oracles from Chainlink. So Chainlink are going to set up what looks like a bespoke oracle for them. And in return, the primary economic parameter for this proposal is an allocation of 1.2% of protocol fees generated by the GMX protocol towards the services of Chainlink and the Chainlink network for providing their low latency oracle solution. So I think it allows GMX to get to the next stage. So it's like a cost that is paid to Chainlink, 1.2% of protocol fees across swaps, longs, shorts, closes, opens, all that kind of shit. Which I think it's a good deal. Like they can't get that next stage without like a decent low latency oracle provider. So sometimes you have to pay to play, don't you? So I think it's a win-win in my opinion.
Grant, question, just from an idiot's perspective and trying to understand this whole thing. We know that, we've got a new player in the market at the moment, namely Vertex, and they obviously, like one of the major value propositions that they want to bring to the table is the concept of like real deep liquidity. I mean, we spoke about real yield products, but now the next thing in many ways is going to be real deep liquidity, because if you want to trade effectively, particularly on chain, well, anywhere really, but it's particularly on chain, you need that liquidity for speed of trade and all that kind of stuff, and obviously slippage is a major thing. How does like a Vertex kind of like off chain concluding on chain compared to something like this, where, I mean, is there a comparison? I mean, I'm just trying to understand the dynamic here and how GMX is trying to solve this problem versus how Vertex are going about it.
Yeah, so GMX effectively looks like an automated market maker with perps on top of it. So people come and they can deposit their stables, their Bitcoin, their AVAX, their Ethereum to the GLP liquidity pool, and then they get the GLP token, which is an index of all the assets in there. So it looks like a what's the word? Yeah, it effectively looks like an index of all the tokens that are in there. So now as the price fluctuates up and down, effectively that's the liquidity that people are trading against when they're opening perps like shorts and longs on GMX. They do have limit orders and I think stop loss and take profit as well, if I'm not mistaken. But it's a completely different model to Vertex. So Vertex is going to be primarily a central limit order book, more akin to a DYDX, but on Arbitrum. The execution is actually settled on chain and then published back on chain like near enough immediately. Trading latency times are going to be like 0.3 seconds, so even faster than what you're seeing on kind of Solana. So, and if there is gaps between the bid and the ask and the market makers aren't willing to fill it properly, there is some kind of hybrid model between an AMM and an order book on there as well. So the main thing for me with Vertex, and it's completely overlooked, you want a protocol to have a shit ton of volume, particularly if you're a holder and a staker, because you want to accrue as many fees as physically possible. A lot of on-chain perps protocols now, traditional market making algorithms and stuff like that, it's a pain in the ass to actually plug into them because it's a completely different model to what you're seeing on like Binance or wherever you trade at the minute. Vertex, their API takes around an hour to set up. So you're going to see all that ported
Wow.
Big money algorithms that can make the bucks, ported over with near enough hassle-free, trading on-chain. That's why DYDX was doing like serious volume. I think it was doing like $2 billion a day in the bull market. and Vertex have something similar. So it's going to be really, really interesting. They're two different products for two different things, I think. You've also got cross margin and margin on Vertex as well. It's very, 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 very high up on my ones to watch list. It's probably in the top 2 or 3. Vertex, along with Tapioca and maybe one more. But
yeah, I mean, Vertex is kind of like this. It is like the sleeping giant. Like they kind of like taking their time, doing things really carefully, and one step at a time, as opposed to 4 or 5 steps at a time. It's really interesting to see. And as we know, like, timing is everything. Narratives are changing literally by the week, but these guys don't really care. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But just coming back to this GMX proposal, I mean, I really like GMX's approach to the way they've gone about doing business over the last. It's been a year now, right? I mean, we first spoke about GMX just over a year ago. We wrote about them. It was 2021. It doesn't feel like it feels. I don't know. Anyway, so they've. I mean, I was just saying when you stepped away to go and corral your dogs, that we met CoinFlip in East Dubai, and I was just telling Dan that the guy's, he's just solid. Like solid, knows his stuff, easy to speak to, like open about what's going on, what they're doing. And how can you not wish these guys to just continue doing what they're doing, like the best, like they've totally killed it, and I think they're just going to carry on doing it.
They've built such a moat with people building in or around or on top of GMX as well, with like the GLP products, and every project that came on Arbitrum was effectively, when you see those big, like, huge sharks, like the big predator in the water, and you see those little the fish that swim next to them.
Yeah. The rumours. Those are the rumora fish, yeah.
That's every protocol on top of GMX at the minute. But there'll be some on Vertex as well. I'm not picking sides or anything. I love them both. But there'll be some people building on top of or around Vertex. I'm hearing rumours of one, but I don't know if we're allowed to speak about that yet.
No, we're not going to. Well, it's got something associated with vaults. That's a clue for you guys. Figure it out. There's an opportunity there, I think, that's coming up. I'm sure we'll talk about it later on. But yeah, that's another thing that we need to talk about around Vertex, and that we didn't really mention, is that they're effectively building a network that will allow for people to come in and do stuff around it. So there's another moat in progress. There's another big game perspective player that's coming into the mix now, and it's going to be really interesting. I mean, Dan actually coined the phrase several weeks ago, and I think a couple of people probably were like, what the fuck is he talking about? But he spoke about the DEX wars are coming, and the DEX wars are coming. There's going to be an interesting narrative around that, but it won't last a week. It'll be something that will last for a long time, because people will then start choosing their preferred DEX. And the beautiful thing about it is that I think the DEXs are going to be super sophisticated, great UIs, UXs. I mean, we've got a beta coming up with the Vertex guys. I think they spoke about it recently, where they're saying we want to actually like run this thing through the motions and see how it performs. And I think there we go. Look, CZ's doing the same. He sees the gap. He knows that central exchanges aren't going to be doing as well as they've done, and now they're going to position themselves. We really are coming to a point where the blockchain is going to prove its worth around regulators, around the dynamic between user. All the liquidity is going to move into the space. It's easy to be bearish right now. There's a lot of shit going on, but wow, like in terms of the future and in terms of what's going on, if you aren't bullish about this stuff, then you really are sleeping in a very dark cave.
There was a couple of kind of things that got said last week, just speaking to people, particularly kind of large market makers in the US, who didn't realize they weren't supposed to be trading on Binance after them documents came out. They're effectively not trading. They don't know what the clarity is. They don't know what to do. They don't know where to go. If that is the case, and they can operate on chain, you got to look at those venues that can accommodate that. So,
agreed.
Right, what's next? We'll have a bit of a laugh now, eh? Our good old friends are back.
You got to be speechless. Like there's all this hype about the fucking exchange. They raised like what $25 million, and they get $13.64 worth of volume in 24 hours. Like that's not even
the funniest bit about the statement. So this OpenX, like Suzu and Kyle's, or it was called GTX when we were taking the piss out of it a couple of months back, effectively trying to create an exchange where people can trade against the assets that are locked up in, I don't know, BlockFi and Celsius and FTX and shit like that. So their main account, if you're just listening, their main account tweeted, "Please be aware, this CoinDesk article contains an error. It states that our total 24-hour trading volume for OpenX was $1.26. $1.26. This was only our perps volume. Cumulative 24-hour volume across spot and perps was $13.64, 982% higher than was stated."
So they had to put the 982% because that makes them look really good between the $13.64 versus the $1.26. All I have to say is one thing. The guys that invested in this business, you guys, if you're listening to this, karma really is a bitch when you support guys like this, and the chickens have come home to roost, and it really sucks to be you right now.
Paid $25 for a beer in Dubai the other week.
I'm sure we paid a lot more for that beachside cafe we went to.
Hilarious, isn't it?
Okay, hell.
I bet their investors are like seething, like frothing, because it's a fail.
Is it really suspended? Are you serious? Is this true?
Yeah, the account's down.
We truly are living in a simulation that actually has a silver lining on it.
There was obviously some great memes that came off the back of it. Poor Dart saying his name was OpenX. And then
Poor Dart's been on fire recently, really just absolutely killing it out there.
Yeah, and then the block, even though they're the same culprits of the recent publishing of the Cobie articles, I don't know why I'm even bringing them up, to be honest, but OpenX did not start off with a bang. The exchange token Flex is down 27%, trading at 195. Let's have a look at where can you even trade Flex?
You can trade on like Dex Screener. I don't think it's actually.
No, it's not on there. Is it?
It's on Mexi.
Oh Christ!
Mexi will list anything. So is that the seed investors dumping out of pure panic?
Well, no, it's Flex is like the token associated with
okay.
that other exchange, but they're the ones who've effectively footed the bill. But yeah, not a good candle. Like that. What's that candle there? So
that is exit liquidity.
Oh well, unlucky. As Jerry says, karma comes back around, in it. So moving on. Have you seen this about the Bitcoin white paper?
I actually reposted that this morning. I don't know. It must be true. I mean, surely it's true. Let's look. I'll let you know in a moment.
Do you think someone just went rogue and done it?
Well, so you can actually get this. Is this like a little hidden Easter egg in your Mac?
Apparently so. So have you checked it? Have you run it?
Not seeing anything. It's not coming up. Oh no, it's not fucking copying everything. Fuck off, man.
To be fair, I wouldn't be surprised if this is a Bitcoin maxi. Their idea of viral marketing.
Psyops.
Hey, they're trying to pump it to $1 million.
It's because
No, it's in there, dude. It's in there, bro.
Is it?
It's in there. Just came up. I ran it in terminal. It's there, bro.
Sweet.
It's there.
So who's put that in?
Clearly someone at Apple.
Do you think it was Steve Jobs before he sadly passed away?
When did you?
Who knows, dude? I mean, it's there.
Oh well, that's cool.
It is cool.
Should we get into two of the areas that are pumping at the minute? So like the concentrated liquidity echoes. So publish this over the weekend.
So I think this is probably your best post this year, by the way, from a just in terms of, first of all, fucking with everyone's minds. Like let's just throw a bomb and then let's see where the shrapnel goes. And then now you got people chasing shrapnel. That's what's going on with this post, dude. There's so much. Could probably
Fucking
discuss
hell.
this for 2 hours.
I got caught in the crossfire of my own post. That's a problem.
I saw you posted about Pilot this morning. Shame, bro. Do you want a hug?
Yeah, I might just jump off a cliff instead.
Shit, that sucks, dude.
So the UniV3 concentrated liquidity business license expired on the beginning of April. I thought they were going to do a full 180 and just extend it because they could have. So off the back of that, that's just kind of fair game for the whole concentrated liquidity narrative and product. It's a much better model. Hands down better than the 50-50 kind of V1, V2 kind of model that everyone seems to be using. Trader Joe have got their own take on it with Liquidity Book. There's a video on YouTube if you want to go and figure out how to use that. I recorded that last week. So yeah, it seems like there's just been, these times where like a bit of innovation gets brought into like a space and then you just see the mentalness that happens off the back of it and the chaos that ensues and all the new and innovative products that can get built off the top of it. So I just said UniV3 license expires, concentrated liquidity decks get their day in the sun, concentrated liquidity optimizes the picks and shovels player who wins, and just got into Trader Joe being, in my opinion, much better experience for deploying on a concentrated liquidity decks. And then you've got some optimizers like Arrakis, which is the go-to optimizer on top of UniV3. They don't have a token, so read into that as much as you want to. Stay Cut, they're built on top of Trader Joe, so similar to like an Arrakis, much smaller, like 2 or 3 million market cap or something. Gamma Strategies, another optimizer. Pilot, which I sold near enough at the bottom tick yesterday, and it's up 115%. So I'm not fucking happy about that.
What was your rationale around selling it?
I was just being impatient, just being a dick.
Okay.
Oh my
goodness.
God.
I hope everyone who holds this gets wrecked.
Oh, that's epic.
Oh god. And then obviously our good friends at Maya DAO, they've released the first fork of the UniV3, but a lot of discussion happens about Uniswap and turning on the fee switch, so taking a portion of all trading fees and distributing to uni holders. I don't think they'll ever do it. I think they're in the crosshairs of, they're based in New York for fuck's sake, so I don't think that's ever going to happen. But Maya picked it up, launched it on Metas, said fuck that, we're going to turn on the fee switch. And then that fee switch, all the rewards from that accrues and gets sent to Maya, Hermes, and maybe Talos holders.
Talos, yeah.
And then, so that's cool. And obviously Hermes is coming to Arbitrum very soon. Yeah,
they're busy with their audits at the moment. I think what's really cool about this is that they kind of went off grid for like 48 hours, just like, and then they like made the announcement like, oh, by the way, we've just done this and we've changed the way our DEX works, and it's built around UniV3, and this is how we're going to incentivize our our community, and it was done. You know, like these guys are the most underrated and definitely the most undervalued protocol in the whole of DeFi, in my opinion.
Yeah, and then Talos, there's an article that we released, Emery written it on Talos, which is another one of those products. So when people are getting really excited about timeless and lit, Talos effectively looks like that. So you can kind of you can use gauge voting and bribes to incentivize liquidity on any asset on top of Uni v3. So now they've just kind of really upped the stakes with developing their own Uni v3 fork. So who knows, they could just fork that over to Arbitrum, and then instead of using the Uni liquidity, they could just incentivize people through bribes using Talos on top of their own decks, which could be interesting. I think that's a better play, to be honest. But I'm not a dev, I'm an idiot.
They've also got Ulysses, which is obviously the omni-chain bridging protocol. So essentially, these guys, it's like, well, why don't we just create our own ecosystem within an ecosystem and just build everything ourselves? That's how these guys are rolling at the moment. And it's all. What's also really interesting about them, I mean, we've obviously spoken about this before, but what's really interesting about them is that they take governance really seriously. Like everything that they do, everything. It doesn't matter what audits are coming up. Who do we go for? These are the quotes. These are the perspectives that goes to governance. They have probably got one of the most thorough and most in-depth governance proposal forums in the whole of DeFi. Go check it out. It's insane.
Yeah, Arbitrum could learn a thing or two from them.
Yes, definitely.
Timeless and lit. The fucking chart's pissing me off a little bit because there's that redemption thing for using all it to get lit at discount. Don't know what's going to happen there. ICE, Dan, I'm pretty sure you've mentioned this in the newsletter a few times. Danny could come back and really shake things up, but we'll have to see. I'm surprised Sushi haven't launched their concentrated liquidity product yet, but that was just my thoughts, and some of the charts seem to have reflected that. I'm going to take that pilot chart off now because it's really annoying me. But that stick chart looks pretty good as well. It's just liquidity is terrible. You can get it on Avalanche as well, but liquidity is still dog shit. But Pendle's really ripping in it.
Pendle's been doing well. I think that could be like a very good like silent play leading into like the whole LSD narrative. And we had this discussion the other day. Like their Camelot chart looks fan-flu-pintastic. But then you look at the Sushi chart and you actually see like, I don't know, like a year ago or whatever, like it was up close to $2. So in theory, the potential of Pendle when it comes to like the whole LSD narrative and post and what happens after the actual Shanghai upgrade is potentially huge. So it'd be things like, maybe like this, or even, someone like Flash could catch quite a good bid. I don't know.
I like it. So Maya seems to have responded really well to the news as well.
Wow, look at that. If you do, the thing was, like, I've been watching this chart. I've not got any because I've never used, Medis. I think we all forgot about Medis, but when we released the article, it was on the dip that was in and around like just shy of like $20, like about a week or so ago.
Fucking hell.
But honestly, like I know that you could have like made a 6 or 7x, but how many people here are patient enough to wait for that?
So I'd like to actually comment on that. We are. So let's just look at the market cap first. Let's get some perspective around this protocol right now. This is probably the single most important thing that you are going to look at today, ladies and gentlemen, is that market cap. 7.3 million market cap on this protocol is absolute joke. It's a joke. Let's take a look at the Hermes charts. Let's look at another opportunity.
Because it's on fucking Metis.
Yeah.
Are they just going to have a new token on Arbitrum?
Look at the market cap on this. If you want to make a play in this market right now, not financial advice, But this might look like an opportunity at 3.3 million. So you asked the question, Dan, who's patient enough? If you're patient, these guys are going to Arbitrum. What do you think this thing is going to do? I wonder what it's going to do. I wonder.
Hopefully that, because that's a long way. $80 is a long way away.
175 as well.
Imagine having bought it at 175 and now it's at less than 10 cents.
Yeah,
I personally think that this is an opportunity that's staring us in the face.
They need to get their shit together and get to Arbitrum though.
They are, and they're doing it properly. Why? Because they've got the best audits currently underway. They're busy with bounties at the moment. I think they'll be on Arbitrum in less than a month. That's what I think is going to happen. Let's see.
Is there any other charts you want to bring up?
I don't actually. Let's actually bring up the ETH chart because I think what's really important about where we're at the moment is that we've got Shanghai literally around the corner. It's happening next week, right? 11th. Is that correct? 11th of April?
14th for now. 12th.
12th. We've got a really, really important question to answer right now. And the question is, will this thing dump on those unlocks, irrespective of whether the unlocks are timed and like you can't do it all at once? That's great. Are LSDs enough of an incentive and the LSD incentives in place with whatever protocol people choose in order for people to hold on to their ETH and not get this inherent stupidity that we're seeing in the market at the moment? Perfect example, unstoppable launches, fair launch, brilliant launch, Dutch auction, great success. They raised $3 million. Really good price. The guys are doing everything right. Gets listed in terms of it goes active. Arrakis is doing market making, and the guys immediately dump it. And my question is, do we have the same psychology that plays out with something like that versus with ETH getting unlocked? Is it like, okay, well, I need the liquidity. I see better opportunities. Let me sell my ETH. I don't care if I'm not in profit. What's going to happen, boys?
I don't think so. I don't think it will dump.
Okay. Dan.
I think it will dump because too many people are long right now, and I think the market makers will capture the liquidity. I see it dumping, yes. Afterwards, I see all of the smart people. I say smart people, we're all idiots here. I do see the chips getting eaten up quite quickly because what you can now start to do with your and it's becoming ever more evident with all of these like LSD plays is you can really start to utilize your Ethereum a lot better and a lot smarter. So this is, could this be the way in for like TradFi? Maybe, I don't know, but I think it's a good catalyst for Ethereum.
It's a good security.
It's a good security.
Fellow commodities traders, as that was for today.
Good actors. No, fellow, what's it? I'll need to copy and paste that.
Fuck no,
easy, I forgot. It's so fucking stupid that it's so difficult to remember it. It's number 6.
A string of words that no human would ever say. So
sophisticated actor in the
so fellow sophisticated, if you're listening, fellow sophisticated actors in the financial market space, if you could do us a favor and just hit subscribe on the YouTube or Spotify, wherever you're listening. There's a shit ton of you who are listening that just aren't subscribed. I think it's like 50-50. So come on, do us a favor. It only takes 2 seconds. But
yes, please.
Nothing more from me. Anything else to wrap it up?
I'm a little bit.
Stay safe.
I'm a little bit concerned at the moment. I hope we manage to push through this resistance that we're at the moment. If we don't, there's only one person that we can blame for this, and that's Michael Saylor for once again buying another 1,000 Bitcoin. He now owns 140,000 Bitcoin. For those of you who didn't know, he bought another 1,051 of them, I think, the day before yesterday. So if we don't break this resistance, he is the reason why, and he needs to be blamed. On that note,
take it easy.
Take it easy, guys.